Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video. There is always a lot of construction at Giga Texas, and it's hard to keep track of it all. So today I'm putting together this video that will bring together some new information that'll put into context what we're seeing on construction between the die shop and the electrical switchyard on the north end. Let's begin with these documents that I got from the city of Austin. This is for the Central Campus Support Facilities. This is the construction that is underway with the clearing between the die shop and the electrical switchyard. This is going to be 3 new facilities plus 2 large water tanks. And you can tell with the permit here and also the site plan that we have a lot of information to go over. Now with this chart on the left, you can tell that outline kind of triangular section. That is the area that we will be doing some detailed discussion about. On the right is that site plan application master comment report. And this gave us a lot of information about what is being built, at least for the initial construction stages here at the site. Here's an overall view of the location to try to give you some context of where we are talking. As you'll see this yellow area, this is the site that is under construction for that Central Campus Support Facility. We can get a better idea here with this drone shot. You can see the cathode building, the die shop, and the clearing off to the right. And this overlays that triangular section that is under construction and currently is getting the grade work done in preparation for this major construction. Using the site plan documents, I put together this overview of this north construction site so that I can illustrate the major changes that we can expect. Starting at the top, the original Megapack site plus the new Megapack site that I've been showing you is easily visible. Now this is to the south of the electrical switchyard. Now, a big surprise is that the current electrical switchyard that has just been upgraded by that third transformer is about to be duplicated again, and they're going to be doubling in size what that electrical substation or switchyard is going to be. And that's going to bring in a tremendous amount of electrical power to Giga Texas. You can see that pink triangular section, which is the main construction site, the existing die shop, cathode plant, and the water management sedimentation and filtration basin on the east side, and of course the Tesla Road, which is going to be expanded to the east, and where the Colorado River is located. Starting with the site plan document, I'm overlaying what this construction site would look like. You can tell that triangular section, which is the main area where the grade work is underway. And of course, on the left is where we're going to see a lot of electrical systems that are being changed and upgraded. Of course, where the original Megapack and the new Megapack site is, and of course that surprise with the electrical switchyard getting larger. Now this is a drone shot. I've overlaid what this would look like so that you can get more context of what we can expect to see. And this is a close-in view of one of the site plan documents to show that electrical substation or switchyard and what it will look like once it doubles in size. So this is pretty big information and something I'm excited to see coming up later this year. Now that we have the overview in context, let's get a closer view of the construction that will take place in this yellow highlighted area. Of course, this is where all of the grade work is currently underway. Now, the site plan shows 3 facilities and 2 water tanks, an extensive underground stormwater management system and drainage system that will ensure that this place does not flood with all the water that we do get here, especially with heavy rains, and a lot of parking and driveways. I've taken this drone image and I've overlaid what the facilities might look like. It's right next to that die shop and the cathode plant on the left. You can see the main factory. There are 2 175,000 square feet, or about 16,200 square meter of floor space buildings, another one that's 30,000 square feet, or about 2,800 square meter floor space, and those 2 5 million gallon water tanks. So this is a pretty extensive site. What I'm showing you here is the site plan showing the overall grade work that has been necessary to level out this location. And you can tell with the old sand and gravel mine, there was a lot that needed to be done. As far as the stormwater management system, I mentioned that it is extensive. This gives us some idea of what this is going to look like. In addition to that, they've kind of cordoned off much of the area into different zones, and this is the overall method that they are going to be using to ensure that the stormwater management system drains away all the water. This view shows that the existing four-way intersection with Robotic Avenue and Tesla Road will be retained, and the east extension of Tesla Road that will continue over towards the Colorado River. So, of course, the question is, what would these facilities be used for? And I think that's a very good one, and I do not have the full information at this time. In the past, we know that this has been the support facilities and that this would replace, to some extent, the temporary trailers that they're using right now nearby. However, I am getting some information that is pointing to the fact that this may be an expansion of the Cortex supercomputer cluster that is in the south end of the building. If true, this would be Cortex 2.0, and it would represent an enormous expansion to what is already in place in the factory. Again, this is all speculation at this point in time. If I can confirm that, I will give you additional information later on. And moving to some other parts that the site plan covers, that is the existing dye shop, cathode plant, and the water management sedimentation and filtration basin on the east side of that cathode plant. As a view of this area from the drone, this is what it would look like. I've overlaid where those new structures would be on the right-hand side of the screen in that clearing. I also wanted to point out that this is that water filtration sedimentation basin that is currently existing. This is going to tie into that water management system around the new site, and it will help ensure that the amount of water is controlled, filtered, and then it exits the site in a safe and controlled manner.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you.
My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. Well, starting today here at the far north of Giga Texas, I wanted to show you what the current situation is with all of the areas that we talked about for that Central Campus Support Facility construction project. I'm going to stay at a higher altitude initially and show you what the earthwork appears like today as they continue to work on that section that we talked about from the site plan and prepare this overall grade for that construction of those three buildings and the two large water tanks, among more of the construction to support that whole facility with the underground water management system. Now, as I pull away to the north, this helps give you a perspective of where exactly this is located and how much of the property is being developed right now. And it goes from that sedimentation and filtration pond on the left-hand side of the screen of the cathode plant all the way over to the switch yard. Now, there is more work that is being done here to the north in this large field where they also have a lot of materials being stored. This is going to be part of the area that will be developed as a track, test track, from what I understand. And now what kind of track that is, I don't know. If it will be just a regular road track or if it will have a track for off-road or maybe a combination of both. But in this general location, this is where it's going to be. And it's also going to be near where we see this rental equipment lot and maintenance facility up at this far northeast side. And you can also see that earthwork that is being done kind of between this site and that cathode plant. Also, about where the drone is, just underneath, heading off to the west, is be that new Harold Green Road that has had the permits and the notifications sent out to the local residents, and I expect that to be built sometime this year. Now I'm going to fly over this clearing, give you a view of what is going on here as they continue to work on the grade, do some recycling of the old concrete that you can see piled up in this area. That pipe that we're just flying over is one of the last remaining original parts of the site, and that was the kind of funnel for the batch plant or the bag plant that used to be where the switchyard is located now. This is a nice look at that filtration pond and also the outlet channel. And you can see the pipes here at the bottom center of the screen. And all of this will be tied together with that central campus facility for the rainwater management. And then it will be emptying into this pond where there's a filtration system at the bottom of the pond. Wanted to also show you that the temporary wall has been added into this east side of the cathode building where we saw a lot of equipment being installed. And of course, the crash test facility continues to be busy as they do more and more testing. And this is on the heels of getting the report from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration of the 5-star rating for the Cybertruck. And I suspect a lot of the training and testing that went on to making sure that they get that 5-star rating came from this crash test facility. So I'm going to maneuver the drone around here on the east side and reposition back over to where Tesla Road will be extended through this location where you see the vehicles traveling. You'll also note that there is the steel corrugated pipe on the ground and the work in the trench boxes through this location. This is all part of that central campus site plan and construction that is underway. And this is going to eventually tie all of this together to that underground water management system in that new site. So I'm going to fly through the alleyway and we'll take a look at what is going on through this part of the site. Now, one of the things to pay attention on the chilling plant is that the vaporizers have a lot of that frost on them, at least on half of each of those vertical kind of rectangular steel items that we're just passing over. So that indicates that there is production going on of some sort with cathode material inside the factory. Now I'm going to kind of maneuver around at a lower altitude over the graded area and kind of give you a sense of what is going on here at the construction site. On the left, you can see more of the steel corrugated pipe for that underground water management system that will go throughout this entire area. And also we see some of the rebar is actually being used that's stored on the ground here, and it's inside the die shop on the left-hand side of the screen where they're adding in a new highly reinforced slab inside that north part of the building. Also, this is a look at the remaining power poles and power lines. They're going to be taking these down soon. In the interim, they leave them on these kind of islands that are sticking up a little proud of the ground, and that is so that they are not jeopardizing the crew as they work on energized systems. So I expect to see those being removed here very soon. Now, on this part of the site, the big work is to try to raise up the grade, knock down the hills, and just basically erase the old sand and gravel mining operation that was through this location. Now, we've seen a lot of soil testing rigs through this location as well, and I know that they have pretty much analyzed the soil, what it is made of, where that ground goes all the way through to bedrock, and we're probably going to see a lot of CFA drilling and piers installed through this location, especially where those 5 million gallon tanks will be located, kind of in the center part of the screen. But anyway, a good low altitude view of all of the work that is going on here to prepare the site. Now we're flying over where the switchyard will be expanded, and it will be double the size that we see on the right hand side of the screen. And much of the work that is going on at the bottom of the screen here is in that location. Now we can see where the 3 transformers are currently located, and that will be duplicated as well. While I fly towards the new Megapack site, we do see some big developments today, and that is the installation of many of the transformers down the middle of the site, and also the risers for the conduit in the bottom right of the screen. And this low altitude view gives you a nice appreciation for the number that is installed here and the work that is going on. Now, the beams on the ground, I expect to see the Megapacks installed on top of. And this is an overall different design to the original Megapack that was installed. We can see here one more of the transformers in the truck getting ready to be lifted up, very similar to what we see going on here with the crane, and placing them down onto those screw type piers and the plate caps that are on top of those piers. So as I pull away from the south looking to the north, this is great to see this amount of progress that is going on and how quickly this is all being installed. So definitely something to watch for, and of course we'll be looking to see deliveries of Megapacks coming in the near future. Thought I'd fly quickly over to this material staging location just to the north of the parking garage to show you what is going on here. Just a little bit of equipment remains, and this is still a temporary storage location, but soon I would expect to see this changing as the work on the south end wraps up, and maybe we'll see some additional construction in this location. It's a kind of prime real estate for the location in relation to the main factory. Now, as I turn back and look at this temporary yard or this parking lot, all we see right now is the group of Cybertrucks in the center right that are continuing with that long-term HVAC testing campaign. The covered supercharger canopy, still no real changes, and I don't really have any additional information other than its location by the superchargers. And then here in this temporary platform, we see more of these large steel items being brought in, and within the factory in this part of the site, they are doing a lot more of the internal work to add mezzanines and different parts of the factory to increase production capacity. So that is continuing right now. The baghouse filtration plant continues to have the assembly of items on the ground, plus the ductwork and piping on the superstructure. Of course, the melt house filtration, or the melt house structure here shows a lot of equipment. That furnace loading system, I don't see that kind of gray loader. Actually, I see it off to the left next to the red crane, and it looks like that has been moved away from the actual loading system itself. But as I pull away, a nice overall view of the factory on this really cold day, and how it looks from the north looking to the south. Now I'm going to pop back down here on this casting, handling, and sorting lot. Not a lot of castings here. We do see the rack mounts, but as I get ready to zoom in, this is the old kind of the stands that were used for painting of the old Model Y bumpers. And you can see some of the overspray on some of those stands. The fact that they are here is a great indication that the changeover inside the factory for the paint shop for the new Model Y is almost complete. And many of those stands have now been moved off-site as they are not needed anymore. As we fly back towards the northeast section, show you just some of these racks with some of the castings. Not a lot of castings again on this part. We see the open vaults where the conduit and the cables that are connecting to the switch yard are still getting final connections made. And then here we see more of the rack mounts for the castings, and in this section right in the middle is some of the new stands for the new Model Y bumpers and the spoiler insert, and also some of the mirrors. And I'll just continue to fly along the north face here. We see a lot more of kind of stands and other equipment items getting ready to be moved inside, probably as changing out for the production of those plastic parts for the new Model Y. And I'm going to continue to fly to the south along the west side of the factory. And I want to stop here. This is where the 4680 recycling normally takes place. I don't see any of the recycling bins right now, but we do see this delivery of crates on this trailer. I'm not really sure what those are for. As we continue to fly along this side of the building, there's this platform that has been moved next to this new entrance. Of course, this is what the new entrance area looks like. They still haven't finished with the doors or the landscaping, but with the temperatures right now, I really don't blame them for not doing that. So we'll let it warm up until we see more activity. Now, one of the interesting things that I would like to point out as we get farther to the south here is that the production of Model Ys, whether it's the old or the new, is essentially not happening right now. And I think that's because they're doing final checkouts and changeover of the production line, and then they will move for the most part, fully to the new Model Ys. So not really any coming out of the factory right now. And as we'll see on the other side of the road, not a lot of the Model Ys on the other side either. But this is a really nice view of that entranceway and the flags and some of the displays they have at the base of the flag. So let's get ready to fly over the highway and resume on the other side. This material staging yard with the tents continues to seem to be cleaned up to some degree. There's a lot less materials and it's more organized than we have seen in the past. As I fly over the central road, we see some of the shuttle buses that bring employees from offsite kind of sitting here waiting for their opportunity to move some employees. In addition to that, I wanted to check in on these cooling fans and the base units, plus all of the plumbing and hardware associated with them. I'm not sure, but I am suspecting that this is going to be related in some way to that central campus support facilities. And this is something I'm really interested to find out if that is true and where all these items are going to go, because I want to get a good sense of if that new support facility is for the Cortex 2.0, as we talked in the intro, or if it's from some other purpose. Also, this area that we're flying over is going to be most likely where the new Welcome and Activity Center has been relocated once more, and hopefully we'll see some construction of that in the near future. So let's fly back over that material staging yard to the end of line facility, and I'll show you the activity that is going on right now. The lanes on the left are pretty much empty of any vehicles at the moment. That's where they are kind of marshaled and queued up before they go through the end line facility for their processing. No activity on the track, and we see just a few of the older generation Model Ys, and this number of population of vehicles here for those Model Ys is continuing to dwindle as they are moved off-site or used for other purposes. We do see a lot of Cybertrucks being produced and stored up here on this part of the site. And there's a nice view back across towards the main factory. Now, the production numbers of Cybertrucks is not anywhere near at the height that we saw last summer, but it does seem to me that they are certainly making more of the Cybertrucks now than they did in, let's say, December and early January. But as I bring the drone down a little lower, this is kind of a view of the vehicles that are being stored here. The Model Ys that we see grouped in with the Cybertrucks on this side of the site are the older Model Ys. However, as I came back over towards the end-of-line facility, I noticed that there are several new Model Ys here, and I'll give you a zoom-in look at what they are doing. And we just see this large grouping. With that van, that still suggests to me that they are driving these with humans and not autonomously. So that work is still ongoing to do that transfer over. The superchargers are being used mostly for the Cybertrucks here today, so not a lot of changes. We do see more of the grouping of Cybertrucks on this part of the site, and we've also seen where these are loaded into the covered vehicles, those trailers that I believe are used for deliveries down into Mexico. As we cross back over the road to the material staging yard, this is what it looks like here today. The thing I wanted to really look at is all of these transformers that have been stored here. And it looks like at least some of them have been moved over and installed at that south end of the electrical switch yard. but there's still a lot that are remaining here and on the other side, just off the screen. We'll see that here momentarily. So despite that installation, there is still a lot of transformers on this side of the site waiting for their turn to be installed somewhere, and that's something I'll continue to monitor. As I bring the drone down lower, I wanted to just show you here the materials and production equipment that is still waiting for movement into the factory and installation. And we've seen some of this being unpacked and moved in with yard trucks, but this is the current situation. And also the brown wrapped stamping machines are still in long-term storage, and I don't know when that's going to be moved, but it'll be something I continue to watch. As we fly over these lower power lines and come to this material staging yard, these are the other large group of transformers that I mentioned. Don't really see much of the change here from what we have seen in the past. But again, with the others that we saw, plus these, there's still well over 150 that are waiting for their turn to be installed. The steel that you see stored on the top of the screen is still being delivered and then moved into the factory. Some of that we saw on the east side on that, temporary platform where it's going in for basically redoing or adding in mezzanines and other production facility inside the east side of the factory. So I bring the drone up a little higher. We'll fly over the power lines and come back over to this section. I wanted to take a look at the sunk caisson and its progress. And what we see is that it has now reached final depth, and you can tell by that ring that it's almost level with the ground. And I'm going to come in closer and give you some look down into the bottom. We can see that they have equipment and potentially the concrete floor. So once again, either this is at the depth that it's going to go, or that's that temporary floor as they do additional work inside. But overall, there is progress being made on the caissons on this side of the Colorado River, and because it's just so cold today, I'm going to cross over instead and come back to this side, and we'll look at what's going on south of the Colorado River in a future video. But this smaller sunk caisson is also at final depth, and as I look down in, you can see the safety fence and some of the equipment and the floor and just how deep it is. Again, that's about 40 feet or 12 meters deep, and I suspect all of the caissons are going to be very similar. So let's fly along this side of the berm and take a look at what is going on with the window line that is being modified so that the factory itself kind of comes together and it looks like it's designed from the start rather than an add-on. And this is what it currently looks like. A lot of the groundwork on the bottom of the screen, plus with the zoom in, this is what the concrete panels look like. And what appears to me is that they're going to make it look like there's that top window line plus this larger one that's kind of funneling open. And it would not surprise me if the white painted or stained wall on the inside of that opening isn't made black to look just like the one on the right hand side. So that will make it appear like it's all a window line. So that'll be something that I look for as progress continues. More of the glass is stored here in the crates on the trailers, and much of this is waiting for its turn to be installed on the east side of the factory. Despite the extremely cold temperatures that we've had over the last several days, the grass is still green on the south end, which is a little surprising to me, but we should see the temperatures coming up and more of this growing as we move into spring in a few weeks. Now, I did pop back onto the roof. I wanted to check on what was going on with this gray section where we saw much of the insulating panels removed, and it looks like almost all of them have now been replaced. So whatever work they were doing appears to be essentially completed, and they've put it back to almost the condition it was before they started the work. Now on the left-hand side or center of the screen, we see that conduit that is coming through these kind of mounts and then going into the roof. This is what connects all the way up along the parapet wall to that northeast side where we saw those open vaults with the conduit and cables. And of course that eventually goes all the way up to the switch yard and is part of the power system for the Cortex supercomputer cluster. The cooling plant has more of that work on the ground with the pipes, and this is a close-in view of what that looks like right now. We also see some of the fan units working with a lot of that kind of that steam coming up out of those fan units, and that is just more of an indication of the ambient temperatures that are well below freezing or right at freezing at the time that I am flying the drone. But a good overall view of the work that continues with some of the plumbing associated with the cooling plant and that distance between the main plant and the cooling plant. As we also look, this is what that window line appears like today. All of the mounts are essentially in place. Now they just need to get to the right conditions to be able to start installing the glass, as I think most of the big equipment items that have been moved inside have already been done so. So that's a quick look at Giga Texas today and what is going on with much of the construction that we talked about in the intro. I hope that you found all of this informative and of value. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And have a great weekend. Take care.